Hello, welcome to Arts in the Parks Conversations, where Arts in the Parks staff will sit down with local artists, arts organizations, and community groups to discuss important topics related to their field of expertise. As you may know, Arts in the Parks is an annual initiative of the Toronto Arts Foundation. Arts in the Parks brings free, high-quality arts programming to parks across Toronto with a focus on Etobicoke, North York, and Scarborough. Our programming, like many organizations across Toronto, has transferred to an online virtual experience. In these conversations, we will also explore deeper the barriers and successes of working virtually as opposed to in person. Today we have Zakisha Brown with us, a rapper, MC, and poet, also a close collaborator with both Rise Edutainment and the Art Gallery of York University. Enjoy the conversation and be sure to hashtag ArtsInTheParksTO and share.
Thanks for hanging out with us today, Zakisha. It's so wonderful to have you here. Ali and I are huge fans. We met you last year for Arts in the Parks in 2019 for the Art on My Mind showcase, and we were so moved by your performance. We'll talk about it later on in the interview, but for those few people tuning in who don't know who you are, do you want to give a quick introduction?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me, and shout out to AGYU and Arts in the Park. My name is Zakisha Brown. I'm a hip-hop artist, also a poet, and one of the organizers of Rise. I've been on the Rise team for 8 years, and Rise stands for Reaching Intelligent Souls Everywhere. So I was actually an event coordinator, and I did a lot of events for Rise for past over 8 years now, I'd say. And at the moment, I actually host Rise Thursdays, and that's the first Thursday of every month. And as an artist, I was able to maneuver around as an event organizer and still dabble in my music and work on myself and my projects and be able to see best of both worlds and connect with other artists through Rise and everyone who came to perform. And as well it's funny because that actually taught me to manage my own self as an artist when I do my own events as an organizer, etc. So I think that's mainly from artistic level who I am as a person.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. I don't understand how you find the time to do all that, but I'm sure the event planning definitely helped.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you could go into more detail on the capacity you worked in with Arts in the Parks this year, so the organizations and even the performance opportunities you got.
Yeah, for sure. So I love Arts in the Park for what it stands for and what it's doing. So last year, as the first time I really got to understand what Arts in the Park is, and I was able to connect with so many different artists as well. So like artists I didn't even know were in my own community. We were able to collaborate on music and just mentor other young artists. So that was last year when we met up in real life before Corona happened. There was such a good vibe. It felt like summer, and it felt like back in the days, like really a part of hip hop culture, connecting with other people, freestyling, learning how to write in different ways, different methods. And this year, Arts in the Park was able to actually give me a few performance opportunities, and especially maneuvering around online culture too. So shout out to Arts in the Park, AGYU, for the IG performances. And then through there, I was able to meet other artists who, I feel like collaboration is really important. So I was able to meet other artists who I can collaborate with future projects for. So they've given me multiple opportunities for music, recording, collaborations, performances, online and in person.
Yeah, that's excellent. We actually caught your performance with Ghana Fest.
Good.
Oh, you caught it. Nice. Yeah. That's amazing. Okay.
Really good.
So, thank you. Was that a AGYU? Is that a collaboration? And I'm not sure what the level of that is. Yeah. That's Rise or that's...
So Ghana Fest is Arts in the Parks. It's an event in collaboration with Arts in the Parks.
Okay.
Rise gets artists to perform there. We were able to catch that, and it was excellent. Yeah.
Wow. So shout out to AGYU for that. I didn't even know because that was such a great... Someone called me. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I was saying that's such a great event, honestly. I didn't even know that was in collaboration with AGYU. I knew Rise was involved, so that's big. Shout out to AGYU as well, so to be able to actually showcase different cultures too, right? And that's beautiful. So I'm grateful. Yeah.
Sure. Randall actually mentioned like Ghana Fest like specifically asked for you. They were just like, please give us Zakisha Brown. And I'm sure it had like everything to do with that insanely beautiful like music video you released. That's pretty much gone viral.
Right.
It's like amazing. We'll put a link in the description for everyone to check it out. It's just amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, that was one of my favorite videos to shoot. That was Africa Home Again. I shot that in Ghana, and then a song called Went to Ghana as well. That I shot in Toronto. So one was more so I was always planning to shoot when I went to Ghana. The other one was like element of surprise. I didn't even know when I landed that I would get the passion and the idea and the energy to start writing about when I went to Ghana. You know, so both of them just blew up past my even conceived notions at all. Like it was so shocking. So beautiful. Yeah, thank you.
Terrence mentioned it in our last interview too. Like it was so great for like the youth you were working with too, with AGYU, just for them to see like, you know, like a real success story.
Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah.
You mentioned it a little bit before. You know, you've been with Rise for about 8 years now, and this is your second year, like doing some production with AGYU. You were able to work with Ghana Fest this year and really like further that experience. But in terms of specifically like your partnership or like your work with Rise and AGYU, do you have like any exceptional memories or experiences that really stand out to you?
With the collaboration of Rise and AGYU, or?
Like either or, like just in terms of your practice and your community work, like just like a couple experiences that just really like stand out.
Yeah, I feel like honestly last year, this is why I really love in-person stuff, because last year AGYU with Arts in the Park, that was so beautiful because we literally got so many young artists, or just young people in general, who didn't know if they wanted to be artists, who wanted to dabble in hip-hop and music. They were still experimenting, still very shy, and we got them to get out of their shell and really express and deliver hip-hop and poetry in many different forms and with different energies and different delivery tones. And it was so great just to see them really come out and step into their greatness, you know, and acknowledge their greatness. That really put a smile on my face. And there's a beautiful young sister, her name is Zakisha. She was one of our program coordinates, and she had so much life, and she rapped in such a lyrical way that I'm like, what? This has always been in you. Like, it's just great to see children who tap in to their own recognized power. So that was so fun to do. That was last year, I think June, July time, near Driftwood Community Center. So that was one of my favorite moments. As well as with Rise. I have so many moments with Rise. It's ridiculous. Like, Rise changed my whole life. If it wasn't for Rise, I wouldn't be the person I am today. Probably wouldn't be doing as much as I am doing and connecting with the right people. I can't even think of one memory. There's probably 1,000 memories that really stood out. But if I were to say, like, oh my God, there's literally so much. Children's Peace Theater, when there's workshops on like self-love and artists connecting with each other in a way that's like deeper than just music, but actually like being vulnerable with each other, as well as like cooking together and going to deep conversations about the world together, traveling to London, like it goes on and on, you know, with Rise especially. So yeah.
We love Rise. We love Rise. We love Raquel. We love their team. We love you guys. AGYU is hard on my mind. I can't even like stop talking about it. Ali and I we love that programming so much. It really like I like
so great.
Yeah, it was
right?
Inspirational because you definitely spoke on people being brave and like sharing their art, but then that also read to people walking by. They were like, whoa, like how do I get on stage and perform as well? So it was just a safe space for everyone to create, and then we left feeling inspired. So definitely touched a lot of people, I think.
For sure.
Yes, I agree. Definitely agree. I feel like it's contagious, right? So many energy is contagious, you know. So it's a beautiful thing to get contagion of, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but like, yeah.
So you spoke then about Rise basically changing your life. So that is a community-based program that really works with youth and artists. What's your personal experience with community programming?
Yeah, so I feel like over the years, like I lived in Jane and Finch for, I think, oh my God, 8-9 years. Well, actually I lived in Driftwood for maybe like a year, and then I moved to Weston and Finch area, so around that region. So before when I first moved to Toronto, I didn't really know like the stigma and the negative ideologies people have of Jane and Finch and et cetera, certain communities. So I already came with an open heart and an open mind. And I was so open to like just being in this community and connecting with people who have like-minded interests in music or poetry, you know, things with soul, right? And so I feel like with that chemistry and with that lack of bias mentality, I was able to expand my awareness and be open to connecting with people at the spot. So that was actually my first intro into a community organization, actual genuine integral community organization that's doing things for the community. So the spot was my favorite place. I played dominoes there with the youth who showed up. Just go on the computer after school, just be there, just talk to the kids, play with them. Because I was a kid myself too, so I was like one of the kids that were doing that. And I seen that there's so much hidden talent, and then there's so much levels of pain as well. But there'd be a space for conversations, you know. So that was big. So shout out to the spot in Yorkgate Mall. And so that was my first level. And then that's when I got connected with Rise. So Rise would help me understand what community really means and what that actually looks like and all of that. And then shout out to Allison, AGYU, and York University. And through there, I was able to navigate and say, okay, I have these experiences in these organizations. How can I utilize that to help uplift and teach the next generation? You know, I'm still young, I know, but it's just like always passing down that knowledge and that awareness, right? So yeah, so it was the spot, Rise, AGYU. Those are like my biggest, when it comes to that.
Yeah, no, we couldn't agree more. Like going into that community last year, like I definitely like have my internal biases. Like it's something like we're trying to get rid of, right? And coming as like a visitor to the Jane and Finch community, like it was just so moving, like seeing like this community like thriving through like the arts and just coming together. And you're obviously like a huge success in the community. Like you've come so far, like the level of production for your videos, like your art form, it's just incredible. You've like gotten shout outs on like these huge platforms like BBC or CBC, and really well in the community.
Thank you.
And you've really like come a long way. So what opportunities do you feel local participants get from these kinds of art programming, like arts programming? And why do you think it's important to support these organizations and these like performance opportunities that you get with like these big organizations? So like Rise, NAGYU, Ghana Fest, even just like supporting local artists, you know, some of them who are emerging and professional artists.
Yeah, so I feel like, well, with the last question, I'll answer that and then I'll go to the first one. Yeah. So there's this guy named Nathan Baye. You know Nathan Baye, right?
Yeah, we love Nathan.
I love.
He's been doing a lot of work with AGYU, right? Like,
yes, exactly. Yes, of course. So he always says like support local before global. That's really important, as you know, that's really what community means, like that union and really coming together to push each other, because we're really all we have, right? Yeah. If there's no sense of that foundation of support and love, then like that's when like hopelessness can come about, right? And it's like, oh, what's the point? And no one's supporting, no one's helping. So I feel like AGYU, Rise, and what they do is so important, because this is where you never know who's in the crowd, right? You never know who would be like, oh my God, I may not be able to help you, but my cousin's a manager, or I can't do art, but my best friend's an art designer, and et cetera, et cetera. So it's like an interconnected web, right? Never ending web that from one point to the other, you just never know who's in the crowd. You never know who's on stage. You never know who the host is, who they might know that can help expand your career, right? And so I think it's really important that, especially if there are people already attending those events, they're already interested, right? You're already starting with interested minds and people who are open and they love music, love poetry, all of that. So through that can create more of that bond, you know, as opposed to like me, and nothing wrong with busking, but opposed to me busking, and then those people, they really came to just shop, or they really came to, you know, maybe go grocery shopping and clothes shopping. They didn't really come to just watch me perform. So that's why like places like AGYU, you're coming to us to watch us perform, and therefore you're coming with that type of mentality already. So I've already seen it firsthand what unity can create, what collaborations can create, right? And what Rise has created over the years, right? And AGYU too. So I think it's mandatory, it's necessary, it's fulfilling too, you know, it's like soul fulfilling work, right? And it just reminds you that you can do this if you step into your purpose, you step into your light. Like there will always be people, organizations, and things to support you and push you and pay you for that, right? So really, really feel valued in those areas. So shout out to y'all, man.
Yeah, so I guess then the question I want to ask to wrap kind of the interview up, the question is, you speak very openly about your own pain and grief, adding that into making music and writing poems, channeling that into your work. How do you think that vulnerability has inspired the younger generation?
But there's a poem that I did. It's like, feel the fear and do it anyways. And you know, we can't get out of life alive, so we might as well live, right? So there are certain questions that like pain makes you reevaluate and ask and really actually contemplate and be like, wait a minute. I feel like once you start asking certain questions, you develop your own answers, right? And then it gets you deeper and deeper, and you keep asking those questions. So with my poem, I had a friend in the community. He worked at the Spot, actually. His name is Drew. He passed away through health reasons, but he was a young guy. And through that pain, I'm like, I had to channel that in writing. And I feel like this will connect with other people who are going through the same thing, or who might be liberating a few things about pain and death and all of that, right? So I feel like naturally words, and especially if it's coming from the soul and the heart, it can really trigger a certain type of emotion in other people, which could be healing, and it can open them up too, to either want to write about it or talk about it at least, right? Because I think that's the first step. The first step is like talking about it. And so you can be open to starting the steps to healing, right? So most of my music either stem from a place of inspiration, pain, realness, all of those different emotions. And those who are going through whatever they're going through at the moment would be able to connect with me in what I'm saying and grow from that. So yeah, I feel like that's one level. There's so many other different types of levels to it, but yeah.
That's really inspiring, because I know a lot of people associate those feelings with weakness most times.
Exactly.
So instead of taking that and putting it as weakness, we're kind of switching it and making it powerful and kind of taking advantage.
Exactly. Transmuting pain into power. And I feel like I'm gonna end it with what Randall says. He always says, I am not my pain. I am not my struggles. Those are just roadblocks proving how far I've came. Right? So we are not just our pain, we're not just our struggles. These are just roadblocks we're gonna continue to unblock and move out of our way, and it'll prove how far we'll come, you know, and how strong we really are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Incredible.
So beautiful words to end off. Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Well, we thank you so much, Zakisha, for joining us today and answering our questions beautifully. Very knowledgeable, and we hope you a lot of success in the future, and also 100K on that video, because it's very
Hey.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.